Welcome to Onwards and Upwards. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we bring you 3 more stories of strength and courage in the face of adversity. The Canterbury cheesemongers lost their Salisbury Street shop in the September earthquake. Shortly before February 22nd, they moved into a new premises, the old registry building at the Arts Centre. Luckily, their shop has been given the green light, and even though the rest of the Arts Centre is fenced off, they have once again opened their doors to the public.
So we have a beautiful day here at the Arts Centre. Right across the road we have the art gallery. You're going to be in the hub of everything here. How do you feel about the new shop for the cheesemongers?
Oh, it's really great. We're very, very happy with our new shop. Great location. Was a better location pre-February, but it's still working out really well for us. And yeah, it's a bit sad sort of standing here looking at some of the slightly broken down buildings at the Arts Centre, but we're fairly confident that they're all going to get fixed up quite soon. And we're very lucky that we're in this lovely green stickered building.
So this is the shop?
Yes, this is it. So,
what have we got?
Well, we've got lots of cheese through there, but we try to complement that with, we've got fresh products over here from local producers. Things like buffalo mozzarella, curd cheese, smoked salmon, butter. It's the best butter you can get in New Zealand. It's fantastic, made at cutting cast out at Lowburn. We've got local eggs. We've got quite a few preserves, nuts and biscuits, just all things that we think go really well with cheese.
And I can smell the bread.
Yes, we've got the bakery over here. We've got the pork pies being made. One of the things that's sort of different and a bit special about our bread is that it's a long prove process, so we don't use things to speed it up or to make it easier or cheaper. The doughs are all being made up the night before, and then different doughs are moulded at different times, but they're proved a lot longer than normal mass-produced breads.
It's such a shame that there's none of these pork pies ready to go right now, because I would be in the good books for a long time if I took some of these home tonight.
Yeah. Oh well, you'll have to come back later in the week and get some, Natalie. So here we are in our temperature and humidity controlled cheese room. So you can hear the refrigeration going on, and we've got a big machine up over here as well that pumps out humid air. We want to keep it at about 95 to 99% humidity in here, and it's about 12 degrees, so that's the ideal conditions for keeping cheese.
So with the cheesemonger business, how did it all start?
Me and my husband met in the UK, and we were both working in a cheese shop over there, quite a well-known one called Neil's Yard Dairy in London. They specialised in English cheese, and he's from Yorkshire. So we ended up working there for about 7 years, learned everything there is to know about cheese and looking after cheese, not making cheese. That's something, a common sort of misunderstanding people have, that we make cheese, but we actually don't. Our specialty is looking after it, which is what that business in London did. And he was always desperate to have his own business, but I felt that in the UK we would probably have been able to do it, but I knew if we came to New Zealand that we would be really unusual. We didn't have a lot of money, and we wanted to just test the waters, and so we bought this wee French Simca fourgette van and had it fitted out with refrigeration and hand washing and all the things that you need to sell cheese. It proved to us that we could open a shop and it would probably work. So, and it also proved to the bank that they could lend us money to open the shop, to open the shop on Salisbury Street. So,
and that's just what you did?
Yeah, that's just what we did.
So the Salisbury shop is no more?
The Salisbury shop is no more. September 4th. Well, actually, it didn't actually have a lot of damage in September, but the buildings around it were very bad, and we did battle a wee bit, put up a wee fight there, and in the end we were evicted, so we had to leave. And I'm really glad that we did now, because this spot is, for the 4 weeks that we're open from January through to February 22nd, were the busiest weeks we've ever had. We were just so busy here, it was amazing. We've got a lot of different cheeses in here. Probably half and half New Zealand and imported cheeses. All these ones up around the walls here, the kind of yellow looking ones, are Dutch style New Zealand cheeses. So we've got fantastic Dutch New Zealand cheesemakers here. We don't actually sell any cheese imported from Holland because the Dutch cheesemakers here are so good. Our basic principle is if we can buy it local, then we don't need to sell an imported version. Even though it's quite different in the post-quake surroundings, it's still doing pretty good. You know, we've managed to keep all our employees on, and we're doing really busy lunchtimes and busy Saturdays.
Have you been open the whole time?
No, we were closed for about 2 months. Initially we were in the cordon, and then we were not able to open until St Elmo's Courts was pulled down.
Did you lose much of the cheese when you closed?
We lost all of our soft cheese. So luckily all these cheeses that you can see around, all the Dutch cheeses, the harder cheeses, we managed to get them out, but the soft cheese was too far gone by that point. And yeah, that was a real pity, but luckily the soft cheese is easier to replace. So this is probably our most popular New Zealand cheese, the Evansdale Farmhouse. Do you like cheese?
Yes.
What sort of cheese do you like?
All cheese.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well let's have a taste of something. It's quite goaty.
Oh, it's great.
Not as earthy as traditional brie.
It's great.
After September, we didn't have business interruption insurance, and we were, in a way that really motivated us to get going again, because we didn't have anything to fall back on. We just had to get on with it. We had to do everything we could to keep the business going. I mean, we opened up a shop in our garage at home, and we were selling at farmers markets and selling outside a wine shop on a Friday afternoon. We kept supplying all of our trade customers, so we knew that we had to do that. Whereas in February, we did have the business interruption insurance, the infamous business interruption insurance that everyone has so many hassles with. And so at first we were like, oh, we'll be fine, you know, we've got this insurance. But we pretty quickly realised that it wasn't going to cover us if the only problem was access to our building. So we just fought very hard to get in here as quickly as possible so we could reopen. I'm not going to be so arrogant to say that it's a social service, but I think as many businesses that can get going and get back started up more quickly, then Christchurch is going to be quicker to recover and quicker to get back to normal.
So, I just have one more thing to do. I'd like to do some shopping.
Sounds good.
Come in, guys. Help me choose my cheese. Thank you.
So this is raw milk cheese from Switzerland.
It's beautiful.
Yeah?
Do you like it? Okay, I'll take some.
Okay.
And maybe another one?
Yeah.
This one was really
The
good.
Shropshire Blue. Yeah. Okay. Great. I'll just write the names on here for you so you don't get home and get confused.
Thank you.
There we go.
After the break, we take a trip to Heskett to find out about a church turned BYO pub. Welcome back. In the absence of a gathering space in Heskett, St Mary's Church has opened the doors of its community house to the public as a BYO pub. We joined Vicar Mary Giles to find out about the church and its contribution to the community.
I was was thinking of you today. How we've gone our separate ways. It's been too long since we last spoke. Had a laugh and shared a joke. I remember that.
Can you tell me what happened on the earthquake in February?
Do you know the earth moved? And it moved pretty violently. This church is 150 years old, and she's ridden through the quakes, and there's some damage, and of course we had to pick lots of things up. But she's weathered it very well, and carrying on. We had just had our 150th anniversary before the first earthquake, so 2 weeks before.
Did you have any rebuilding to do?
We will have a bit of repair work to do in the hall, and a small amount in the church itself.
And it's a wooden building.
It's a wooden building, yeah.
So it would have moved.
Oh yes, wood is good.
But not fallen, yeah.
Yes, the baptismal font fell over and broke, and there were many things, that had fallen over, but generally speaking, we're in very good shape and able to use the building, which is just a real joy.
Did it have an effect on the congregation?
Yeah, of course, and people really came together and started helping one another and being concerned. The calls that were going around and people checking on one another was just phenomenal. Some people have gone away, of course, and they're beginning to drift back because they realize what a strong community it is.
Shall we go to the church then?
That would be fabulous. I'd love to show you around there. It's a beautiful little church, and we just love it.
I was noticing it's just so quaint.
Yes.
And all the beautiful little wooden carvings.
Yes,
it's gorgeous.
yes, it is. And we've lost a few of those, but mostly they're good. Do come in.
Thank you. Wow. Would you mind telling me a little bit about the history of the church?
Sure. It's one of the oldest church buildings in Canterbury, and originally it was on the Bridle Path Road, and in the early 1920s they moved it to this location. There was a hall here, and that's where they had Sunday school, and it was, they wanted to have the church and the Sunday school together in the same location, so they moved it here. In the early 1920s, and it's been here ever since.
There's a story I know we all leave.
So in here there wasn't any actual damage?
Yes, there was actually. We have a couple of speakers up high that go with the organ. And actually in the first shake, one of those speakers fell down and broke some of the floorboards. So, and the altar came over, and the wood in the back also came over, and but that was repairable, so yeah.
Great, so minor damage.
Minor damage, except for the baptismal font in February. That went over and is broken, but we will be able to repair it. So.
Maybe tomorrow will fade away in the air.
Unfortunately, in the September quake, the Valley Inn came down, which was a wonderful gathering place for the community. And the February quake, well, we lost the cricket club, the bowling club, the coffee roasters, and so forth. There was no gathering place left. And I was talking with several community people, and that was one of the things that became clear to me, that we didn't have a place to gather. So I suggested that we have a BYO pub, and that people could come to the hall, which is still standing and very usable, and just come together so that they could be together in that time. People needed to be together. And in the first several weeks, we were a food distribution place, so we had food and nappies and soap and all kinds of things here for people to take. And it was a real sharing of time, of talent, of just coming together. Obviously, we don't have a liquor license, so I just said, bring whatever you want. We set out some trestles, and people bring nibbles to share. And some people bring along some grog, and sometimes they share that with one another too. Most people even bring along their glasses to drink from, and they just know that it's bring your nibbles and drinks and whatever you want, and bring something to share if you wish. And it's a time to chat, it's a time to be together, it's time to share.
Here we go, everybody, all my lovers! All my lovers!
Is this an all ages?
This is absolutely an all ages thing. I have parents telling me that the kids are begging them to come to the pub. I have kids coming up and saying, when are we going to have the pub again? When are we going to have the pub again? And we do have some activities for the children now. The other night, all the children brought torches, and they were just having such a wonderful time running around with their torches and playing games. Most of our kids are they're just so resilient and just so, they're wonderful. So yes, it's absolutely an all-age thing. We have people that are quite elderly, and we have people that are, we have babies. Yeah, so we've come along, and I love these signs here because I didn't put this one up. We had originally put a sign here, but these signs have sprung up all over the community advertising the pub by the community. And so it's really been quite nice. Come chat, meet, get info, and so on. And it's just fabulous. I love it.
How long do you think it'll take before the community gets back to normal?
What's normal? The new normal. We're hoping the Valley Inn will be rebuilt sometime, and that will, of course, help to bring the community together as well. But this community always has been a tight-knit community that stays together and helps with one another. And as far as our BYO pub goes, I suspect that at least Friday nights will go on for quite some time.
After the break, we join musician Richard Hoare to find out how things have changed for this iconic musician. Richard Hoare is an iconic Christchurch musician. We joined him at his home to find out how life has changed for him since the February earthquake and to partake in a special duet.
Every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Make sure that your umbrella is upside down. Trade it for music in one form or other was always in our home. We had the radio, a small but growing collection of records of all sizes, the piano. My mum played the piano, and she actually gave me my first live approach to music, I guess, singing nursery rhymes and accompanying herself on the piano. I play organ mainly, but I started out on the piano, and I owe my start and groundwork and such like to the piano. Had 9 years of piano training, 6 of them before I got my very first organ at the age of 14. And so then that was the starting thing for the public figure, I suppose. The organ really started things off for me. But no, the piano and latterly the portable keyboard in the last just under 20 years, I suppose. I've been playing portable keyboard now.
How many days after the February quake was it before you started working again?
I started working the following week. I suppose as early as the Monday or Tuesday. The Friday, unfortunately, was the day that we found my music room to actually be unserviceable, so it's unusable, I should say. So that was a bit of a shock to the system, and of course we started moving musical gear and various assorted gear out of it, which is now in storage. But that was why I didn't go to the rest home that I could have played at on that particular day. But the following week, I was back into it.
Was it important for you to get back to playing music as quickly as possible?
Yes, absolutely, because, I realised very quickly, and still do, you know, that there are people out there that need it. Trade it for a package of sunshine and flowers. If you want the things you love, you've got to have showers.
What are musicians doing now that we are out of the venues?
Well, I think there are a good number of them, myself included, playing in the seniors industry, working for senior citizens clubs and rest homes, retirement homes.
While the earthquakes have affected us all, when you rely on a guide dog for guidance, new road layouts can make travelling a challenge.
I think it's limited our routes to walks around Riccarton and such like, and even walks down to the post office have a slightly different route to what they used to. But Vicky has adjusted really well. She's a great guide dog, and I've in the 3 years that I've had her, well, of course, 9 months have been earthquake affected, but she has, I think, coped remarkably well with what we can do. I think she's done fantastically.
You rely heavily on your ears. I wonder, has there been much of a change in the sound of the city?
Not to my knowledge, not as far as I'm aware. There might be perhaps a bit more intensity of traffic in certain areas like Riccarton Road, Straven Road. Certainly the traffic at times is probably a wee bit more intense. But Riccarton Road and Straven Road have always been busy. They've always sounded that way, and so I think there hasn't been a lot to adjust to. It's just basically coping with new perhaps strategies as far as getting to the places that we go to around Riccarton.
Has your property sustained much damage?
It has, yes. The house, is the main supporting wall of the house, which was the outer wall of my music room, has been propped up with wooden structure, and there are cracks inside, considerable cracks. In time, every wall and ceiling will have to be realigned. Major work. We're over the $100,000 as far as EQC is concerned. I've never shifted house before or anything like that, but we, for a little while, we will have to move out. But I don't think we'll be in too great a state of problematica, as it were. Pennies from heaven, you'll find your fortune. We do have music at 79A, but it's not quite as prevalent as it used to be.
What are your hopes for Christchurch in the future?
Well, I think we can get back on our feet. I was born and raised here in Christchurch, and as of thousands of others. But I think in time, I'm sure we can get back on our feet to some degree, and those of us who do what we do, hopefully we can keep doing it well as possible.
Is music part of the solution?
Definitely, I believe so.
Oh, every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is upside down. Trade it for a package of sunshine and flowers. If you want the things you love, you must catch your own. For when you hear a thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven. There'll be pennies from heaven. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back next week with more local stories for you. Until then, take care.